वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Thank you, Sangat Ji. Thank you, everybody, for joining today for this Vichars session, where we're speaking about inner reflections and that journey inwards. And thank you for leading us into beautiful Simran meditation that we've all done together. And we've all raised our vibration in these few minutes that we've sat together and focused on the divine mantras. The greatest thing that we take from this Sangat is when we actually meditate together. That's where we go deeper within ourselves, Sangat Ji. The discourses, all the other things that we do probably count for about 10%. 90% is the meditation. The mantra chanting that we do in this satsanga together is what's going to allow us to travel deep within ourselves. So thank you for firstly allowing us to serve and giving this life some purpose. And thank you for giving us the opportunity to remember the divine collectively here. Sangat Ji, let's reflect. How we see the divine is a direct reflection of how we actually see ourselves. How we see the divine is an exact reflection of how we actually see ourselves. Many times we spend time calling out to the divine, and we perceive the divine to be someone really far away. But in reality, the divine is actually calling us from within us. As Guru Ramdas Ji, the fourth Guru, they've told us this. Mere man pardesi ve pyare, aao kare. Har Guru malavu mere pyare, kar vase hare. My beloved, my stranger mind, that mind that's living in a different land, please come home. Who's calling to the mind? It's the Guru, the divine within us, calling the mind back, come home. Har Guru milavu mere pyare, kar vase hare. Meet with the true Guru, that divine Guru that lives deep within your own home. Rang raliya mano mere pyare, har kirpa kare. Revel in that divine love, because that divine Guru bestows their mercy, their grace. Guru Nanak Tota mere pyare, mele hare. And when Guru Nanak Dev Ji showers their blessings on you, that's when we're united with this divine. That's when we come back to our true home. So it's the divine within us that's calling us, Sangat Ji. Come back home. Why are you wandering so far away? Come back home. And as we meditate, we start to hear that hidden voice. And that hidden voice starts to call at us. This is why so many people in spirituality call it a calling, that they receive the calling. That's that hidden message, that internal dialogue that is occurring with each and every one of us. And each and every one of us, whether we're realizing it or not, actually hearing that message, hearing that calling, but being in the Sangat here today. Because someone has brought you here. Something has brought you here. There's no coincidence on it. So what affects our perception, our understanding? What affects our ability to actually hear this calling? The Guru tells us. If the feeling of God, if the feeling of the divine brings mostly the idea of fear and blame, so if we think that the divine is someone who we should fear, or the divine is one that will judge us constantly, what that really means, Sangat Ji, is that there's too much fear or blame trapped within us. There's too many judgments trapped within us. Because whatever we perceive will become our reality. On the flip side, if we see the divine as full of love and compassion, for sure you will find that that's also our inner nature of love and compassion. The purpose of our spirituality, as the Guru has told us, is to take on these divine values. It's devotion to values and not rituals. So we become a carbon copy of the divine itself. The objective is not to be separate from the mantra, but to become the mantra, to become the Shabad, to become one with the divine. Let's put this into practice now, Sangat Ji. Last week, my brother Amardeep Singh spoke so beautifully about Saint Kabir Ji. I took teachings from their tradition, and I would like to spend a bit more time focusing on that today. If we focus on the words of Kabir, we might understand the depth of this message, of this inner realization. Saint Kabir Ji, they're meditating, they're going deep within their self. And as they're traveling through themselves, they're automatically contemplating on the nature of the divine and how we can arrive back to that divine home. And in this inner inquiry, they see that there are many who wear the robes. There are many who play the part. There are many who are rotating the rosaries, the mala. There are many who are producing and creating and performing all sorts of rituals. But they're so far from the essence. They're so far from the source that they're no longer an inspiration for Kabir. So how can this divine be found? Firstly, Kabir Ji meditates. They say this is a path of humility, to cast away the ego. And if we are to cast away the ego, if we are to fall in humility, then what should I be like? And Kabir Ji says, I shall be like that pebble, that stone on the ground. Because in that moment, Kabir was saying there's nothing more humble than that pebble. There's no greater sign of humility than that small stone. And that small stone, that lowering the ego, is where I will find the divine, Kabir said. There could be nothing lower than that pebble. But then Kabir goes deeper, allows us to go deeper. Kabir Ji had already merged with the divine, but they were sending us on this journey so we understand the process. And as they're meditating further, they said, no, that pebble, that stone is not enough. Why? Because on this path, even that pebble will rise and hurt another fellow traveler. And on this divine path, those pebbles that are kicking and kicking and kicking will go and injure someone else. Kabir then says, no, I need to be the dust that's under these pebbles. I need to be the dust that are under these stones. Because the slaves of the divine are the dust of this earth, Kabir Ji sang. But then is being dust enough? Kabir then asks this question. Is that the end game? No. Kabir then explains further. That dust can rise. It will rise in the wind and it will stick to one and everyone. That dust will quickly turn into filth. What was clean will become dirty. So Kabir Ji says that dust is even enough. We have to go deeper into our meditation, deeper into humility. And that's where Kabir says, I know. We need to become that cleansing water. We need to become as clean as water. But as they meditate further, Kabir Ji is not satisfied with this either. This being like water is not going to give that realization, that inner journey. That journey is still not complete. Kabir is flowing into the sea of the divine. Through their meditation, they're flowing into the sea of the divine, and even then they say, There's nothing great about water. Why? Because that water can become hot and cold in seconds. With the slightest of disturbances and changes of circumstances, that water will either become hot or cold. Being like water is not enough. And then in helplessness, in complete submission, Kabir arrives at the final destination, where they say, Kabir pani hua ta kya paya, sira tata hue, har jan aisa chahiye, jaisa har hi hoye. Kabir says, what if I became water? It just becomes cold and hot. That humble servant of the divine should be just like the divine, settling for none other than the divine. Through the outpouring of divine virtues, we merge and become one with the divine. What is Kabir Ji telling us? They're saying that this path, this true path, is a labor of the heart, not of the mind, not of this head. Kabir is saying, make your heart your primary goal, not your mind. Use your mind, involve your mind. But in the end, the challenge is to prevail over the self. And the only way we can prevail over the self is through traveling through the heart. Lead and travel with this heart alone. Kabir is telling us that this is a path where we constantly develop ourselves. And we can see that example in Kabir Ji's Bani, in their words. First they were the pebble, then they were the dust, then they were the water. And then they said, no, we just have to merge with the divine itself. This is a constant path of developing, constant path of change, constant path of transformation. Each moment is a new divine opportunity for us to experience, to go deeper, to experience that bliss, a chance to experience that bliss. Understanding and recognizing the interplay of ego, that ego that separates us from the divine, is a process. Pebble, dust, water, divine. These saints, many saints have observed, many saints have studied the scriptures, but they've all told us that this is not an intellectual pursuit. Those that perceive this to be an intellectual pursuit alone have not found the divine. The benefit of studying scriptures, quoting rule and verse, is only useful if it encourages that devotion, that love of the divine. Otherwise, many a time that knowledge will just clutter this mind. It becomes an attachment in itself. And in our last moments, in our dying moments, any of that knowledge that we think we possess, it will be no use. It's the same as our material possessions that we have. Ultimately, we just need as much intellect to allow us to understand the process, understand this path, to fall deeper into that devotion. Everything else becomes a hindrance. Our reliance on our intellect has tied us in knots, Sangat Ji. Because intellect is linked with the ego, and it doesn't allow us to risk anything. It's always cautious. It always advises us to be aware of too much ecstasy, too much bliss. Intellect will always make us wary of embracing our true spiritual self. It will tie us to this world. It will tie us to our past connections. But love, on the other hand, will say, take that plunge. Don't worry about it. Take that plunge. Intellect and the ego does not break easily, whereas love is effortless. In a second, it will reduce itself to rubble. Within the heartache of divine separation, we find so many treasures, Sangat Ji. These treasures that we never knew existed, that take us deeper within ourselves. And these treasures cannot be examined by the mind. They can only be understood by the heart. The quest of a lover changes The quest of a lover changes the seeker. And as we develop our path, so does our love. Our love deepens. And there's no one who has loved the divine who hasn't matured spiritually on this way. The moment you start looking for love, that love of the divine within you, you start experiencing that change within yourself. Again, Kabir Ji gave those examples. The pebble, the dust, the water, the eventual merging with the divine. This path starts with love and finishes with love. And when we arrive at that faith, we've arrived at that place of love. That same love will deepen us and bring us to our true purpose. As Guru Nanak Dev Ji has said, no one's found their way out of this Maya existence, this illusion, without true love. Man re kyo chute bin pyar, gurmukh antar ravre ab, bakse pagat pandhar. No one has ever escaped this Maya trap without love. From this love, Sangat Ji, the divine spiritualists find patience. What is patience? It doesn't mean just to endure. It doesn't mean just to have heartache. It doesn't mean for you to be tormented. It doesn't mean for you to tolerate all sorts of abuse. Patience is a process. It's making us understand what we are actually looking to achieve. It means looking at a thorn and realizing there's a rose at the end of it. To look at the night and realize there's a dawn at the end of it. When we're impatient, it's very short-sighted. We're not able to see the outcome. It's very cloudy. But the lovers of the divine, the Sufi saints who sing this, they never tire of patience because they know that time is required before that crescent moon comes, and before that crescent moon turns into a full moon again. It requires patience, it requires time. As Kabir has said, Har ka bulovo na bulovo mere pai, Saj bulovo jaise tat na jaye. Churn the name of the divine. Churn it so steadily that you don't lose its essence. You don't lose the taste of it. Our spiritual journey is one of patience and endurance, Sangat Ji. We will realize these expressions, these revelations within us, but at the appropriate time, and when we fall deeper into that silence. What the Gurbani is telling us, what Kabir is saying to us, is if we want to change the way others treat us, if we want to change those things that are annoying us, we need to change what's happening within us, our perception of it. Be thankful for every single thing that we encounter, Sangat Ji. As Bhagat Farid, another great saint, has said, Farida, Jote Maran Mukiya, Tina na mare kum, Aap nade kar jaiye, Pair tana de jum. Be thankful. Be thankful for even the thorns that you might get. Because in that, the Sufi saints have said to us, behind every thorn is a sign that you'll be showered with roses at the end. And in these practices, our thoughts, our emotions stabilize, Sangat Ji. We come to that mindset where we're no longer in that pleasure or blame cycle. We're no longer in the highs and lows. We're no longer plagued by happiness and sadness. And we achieve that place of contentment or saj. Why is this all important? The Guru has said to us, quite simply, that if you are far away from yourself, how can you be close to any other? If we don't go deep within ourselves, how will we ever be close to any other, let alone trying to have a relationship with the divine? If you are far away from who you are, you will not see the divine even if they're in front of you. And this is why the Gurbani says to the wandering mind, Mere man paradesi ve pyare. My mind that's living in different lands, that wandering mind, come home. Your divine, your husband, your beloved is sitting right there waiting for you. Come home. How do we go through those tough moments, Sangat Ji? How do we find that resilience? How do we find that fulfillment within our lives? Firstly, Sangat Ji, when your mind's in chaos, do not trust your own minds and your thoughts at that time. Just like when you're boiling water, Sangat Ji, if you try to look for your reflection in boiling water, you won't be able to see it. In the same way, when your mind is consumed with anger, with lust, with greed, with all the passions, with attachments, you will not be able to see clearly either. That clarity of mind has completely disappeared. So when you're going through these difficult moments in your life, do not trust your own mind or your thoughts to get you out of that turbulent time. And there, the Guru has told us, seek the advice of the Sangat, your mentors. Understand one thing, Sangat Ji, no one has to suffer alone. The Guru is always here. Guru mere sang sada hai naale. Look at your scriptures. Look at your divine scriptures. Look at the Sangat, that company you're keeping. Find your source of inspiration from them. In any situation, take that time to pause. Do not try and go through those tough times alone. And in that, you'll find yourself thinking, what will the Sangat do? What will my beloved do? What will Guruji do? What will Babaji do? What will my mentors do? What will my teachers do? What will my brothers and sisters do in this situation? And if nothing else, have a deep and meaningful conversation with the divine that's sitting within you, that inherent power that's within you, and they will show you that path out of that chaos. Secondly, Sangat Ji, remember that as quickly as pains come in life, they will also leave, because everything is transient, including our pains. Periods of happiness and sadness are just temporary emotions. They're like clothes that we wear and take off morning and night. Remember this, Sangat Ji. Our trauma reacts, but our intention responds. When we react impulsively, Sangat Ji, it shows how much we're still holding on to, how much of the past we're still holding on to. But when we take that time to pause and when we start to travel within, we start to see a true reflection of who and what we are in that moment. Then as quickly as that hurt arrives, the quicker it will pass. As Guru Nanak Dev Ji has told us, Nanak bolana chakna dukh chhad mangiya sukh. Sukh dukh doye dar kapde pehre jaye manukh. Jithe bolan hariya tithe changi chup. Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying, look, it's useless to beg to be spared from pain and only receive comfort. Because these are two garments, these are just like clothes that you wear and discard. But then they give this advice, which sounds so easy but really difficult to implement. They say, where you're bound to lose by speaking, just stay silent. What Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying here is embrace the good and bad moments in your life. Don't react to them, embrace them, accept them. Accept that they're happening, observe them. Let those emotions pass. Remove your judgments of that situation in order to free your mind. Celebrate each and every moment. Each and every moment is an opportunity for your growth. Do not wish any experience away. Our pains may make us bitter, but the same pains will also inspire our divine path. And the same way, jithe bolan hariye tithe changi chup, where you know that you're going to just create even more ripples of emotions, where you know you're going to create even more fabrications, stay silent. Why create even further karma in those situations? Celebrate that moment. And then it comes to the third advice, Sangat Ji. Be kind to yourself. Do not think that everything needs to be perfect in every situation. Feel your emotions without letting them control you. And this way, Sangat Ji, find your stillness. Each and every moment, according to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, according to Kabir, according to the saints, is to take every moment as an opportunity to redefine ourselves, to better understand who and what we really are, to recreate our reality. All of these moments of happiness and sadness are just temporary. Do not let these emotions define who you are. Retreat back into that silence, into your meditation. Work out whether that's a true reaction, a true reflection of who you are at that time. Work out whether you're reacting because that's how you actually feel about a situation, or you're reacting on it because of some past trauma. Underlying all of this is your meditation. Know that when everything consumes us, our Sangat, our meditation, our daily routine will bring us to that state of calm. Through every meditation, through every seva, through every message that we're receiving, we're building that ability to hold our concentration, Sangat Ji. And slowly, slowly, our concentration will increase. We'll start to recognize what's triggering us. We'll start to recognize what's taking our energy away. And in that, we'll start to no longer give in to those things that take our attention. The misconception is that we think we need to be calm in the beginning. Inner peace doesn't start with a state of calmness. Inner peace is accepting that life brings you tensions. But inner peace is when we realize that we're not going to react to those tensions. You feel that tension, but you're not giving it any attention. You're not reinforcing it. This is a beautiful journey, Sangat Ji. The Divine has blessed us with these beautiful moments. And we start to know that we're actually developing any real wisdom, Sangat Ji. When we start to realize the difference between our perspective and others. We don't try and enforce our validations on anybody else. We have that self-love within ourselves. We've become so emotionally intelligent. We guard our hearts. We don't let these emotions come to us that are just going to take us off our path. And this way, Sangat Ji, is where we go deeper into our humility. Nor do we go high and low, nor do we go hot and cold like that water, nor do we rise like that dust, nor do we attack or hurt anybody like that pebble. In this way, we start to adopt those divine characteristics within our heart, within our life, and slowly, 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 with the divine blessing, with Guru Nanak's blessing, with Jesus' blessing, with Allah's blessing, we start becoming a carbon copy of them. And with these words, Sangat Ji, thank you so much for allowing me to serve. Thank you so much to Baba Ji, to Pai Sabji here now, for allowing us, for trusting us, for being a mentor and a guide to us, to giving us this opportunity to serve you. And with these words, Sangat Ji, I beg your forgiveness. Waheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji ki
Fateh. Thank you so much, Rishipal Singh, for that insightful, deep Vichars session there.